Good afternoon, Superkickin with Stephen fans. Your favorite host, Stephen A. 1181, right here to give you the lowdown on Raw, on SmackDown, and to talk some NXT. Take a short break, and then we'll get right into what is ahead for WrestleMania and for NXT Stand and Deliver. Right now, I'm going to put AEW on the back burner for the time being, just because we're really in the WrestleMania season. So we'll get the next few weeks, a couple weeks about WrestleMania. Maybe get you caught up next week, or so, or the week after, kind of see where AEW's headed. Their big show will be in May, their next big show. So, as you can see, favorite host, Stephen A. 1181. Let's get started right away with Raw. Kind of look at what happened that night and anything that might be pushing ahead towards WrestleMania. So first off, we had Bobby Lashley defeat Sheamus. Just a hard-hitting matchup, just kind of get, things going for Bobby Lashley ahead of his WWE title match with Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. I believe that's going to be night one. There's still some of the matches, they still haven't figured out which night they are, but I'm pretty sure that's night one. As far as Sheamus, we'll kind of talk about what I think he had a little segment with Matt Riddle. So I think he and Matt Riddle might go for the U.S. title at WrestleMania as well. But we'll kind of look ahead when we get to WrestleMania card and kind of see where that could go. Next up, we had Asuka defeat Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce wanted this opportunity. She cut a pretty good and passionate promo. I believe it was 2 weeks ago on Raw Talk, just saying, hey, give me a shot. So not sure when they're, when her contract is up or anything like that, or if she's going to jump ship or anything, but she was given a shot. I thought it was a little shaky, honestly, but hey, she was given a shot. Then Rhea Ripley came out there making her kind of her re-debut. I mean, she was kind of part on the WrestleMania, the WrestleMania shows, but she was NXT champion at the time last year. So making a Raw debut as Raw superstar, calling out Asuka right away and saying she wants a match and for the title at WrestleMania. If Rhea Ripley wins there, she'll be the first woman to hold the NXT UK, NXT title, and a Raw or SmackDown women's title. So that's pretty good. That shows how high Rhea Ripley should be on the radar. Once again, kind of looking at WrestleMania, that's a really good matchup. There is possibly another woman that could be involved there. Charlotte. I don't personally think Charlotte needs to be involved right now, but it would make up for Charlotte winning last year, and it just didn't seem to really click with her getting that NXT title. So you could pull the route that Rhea Ripley beats Charlotte, saves Asuka for a little, if we want to do Asuka and Rhea Ripley one-on-one down the road. But I will be interested to see if Charlotte Flair gets inserted into that match. The Miz defeated Jeff Hardy, then calls out Bad Bunny for a match. So we are officially getting The Miz and Bad Bunny in a singles match. I want to think that that's going to change it to a tag team title or tag team match. I don't want to leave off Damian Priest. I just think, it makes too much sense, and it saves, Bad Bunny from the match. So I'm going to assume it's singles match for now, but that could change, just like we saw from SmackDown, a big match changing. So I imagine that it's going to be The Miz and John Morrison against Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Kofi Kingston defeated AJ Styles, kind of getting ahead of their tag team title match. I'm going to assume we might get Xavier Woods and AJ Styles again, even though we just got them. But it does seem like they're going to wait on almost to wrestle at WrestleMania. So I don't see him, getting the singles match or anything like that. But we'll kind of keep playing up Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against AJ Styles and almost. That one right there is a pretty hard prediction, I think, for me right now. Just trying to go back and forth on, do we pull the trigger on it? I mean, that is one title that AJ Styles hasn't got yet. So, might as well give it to him. And, if New Day win it back the next night, they do or whatever. So, kind of interesting there. Next up, we had Drew McIntyre defeating Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Just a good match for Drew McIntyre to get some heat back on himself. The Hurt business is hurting right now, especially when you have Bobby Lashley going to a locker room. That was Drew Gulak, Grand Metalik, Lince Dorado, Humberto Carrillo, and Ricochet, and I believe says Tozawa saying, hey, He's putting out a bounty for anyone who could take out Drew McIntyre. Personally, I think I brought this up earlier in the week. I'd want Keith Lee to be that guy to step up. Maybe Keith Lee doesn't take him out per se, but it hurts him, pretty well. Maybe in the next week or so, and then Keith Lee gets accepted to the Hurt Business. I think that would really help Keith Lee. Gives him something. Right now, I don't know what he's doing. I heard he's not on TV. Obviously, some people are saying he's not even at the taping. The Raw shows right now. So I don't know what's up with Keith Lee. Just really curious about what's going on there. But my booking idea, Keith Lee in the Hurt Business, he can maybe get the U.S. title and, maybe you get the Hurt Business back with the tag team titles and let them run in the summer. And then SummerSlam, you could take off the titles how you want. So Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler defeated Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, just tag team champions. I thought maybe Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke could get the win to get themselves in the title picture. Right now, it looks like Tamina and Natalya will be there at WrestleMania, and not really feeling that match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Natalya and Tamina. I think we need another tag team or two added to that. We also see Braun Strowman defeating Elias, and then Shane McMahon said he can have any match against Braun Strowman. I'm going to assume it's like, no DQ or something like that, or maybe a steel cage to kind of keep Shane from running away right away, something like that. So I will be, I think next week we'll get Braun Strowman defeating Riker, and then he'll announce what the match is moving forward for WrestleMania, since we are seeing Braun Strowman against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. And then finally, we had Randy Orton call out The Fiend. He had Alexa Bliss out there. The Fiend showed up. Orton tried to set The Fiend on fire again. It didn't work. Orton ate a Sister Abigail and the Mandible Claw. And then we had Alexa Bliss point to the WrestleMania sign. I still think we're going to get some gimmicky type match with this, some somatic type match. Maybe it won't be Firefly Funhouse type, but it'll be something. Just to kind of protect the Fiend and protect Orton in that type of deal. So that's what I got on Raw. Like I said, I think Sheamus is somebody we still don't know what's headed for WrestleMania. Matt Riddle, we don't know. Don't know what's going on with the tag team titles for the women's side of things. What kind of match will Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon think up? So, but we do see a very clear picture of what matches are ahead for most of the, if not the majority of the roster right now, especially when we looked at last night's SmackDown, which I'll get into right now. Then we'll look at NXT, take a little break, and then go into what is ahead for WrestleMania and what's ahead for Stand and Deliver, NXT TakeOver. So pretty much Daniel Bryan wants to put himself into the title picture, which is understandable because he's been there all along. So, he made a demand. Edge came out, just said, hey, you lost your chance. It's time to move on. We did get so I'll kind of go backwards or go at the end. We saw Adam Pearce come out there and announce a triple threat match because everybody, agreed, or everyone had a valid point. And then Edge decided to wreck Roman and Daniel Bryan pretty much, and took out a couple officials. So I wonder if we'll suspend, Edge or something like that. Beth Phoenix is, kind of stepping up into her Twitter page and bringing up what is she going to do with him now. So I'll be curious to see what they do with Edge, if anything. Maybe he can't be in the building or something like that. And we let Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan wreck each other. I think there's just going to be, a lot of momentum shifting back and forth because this is another one. I think Daniel's going to eat the pin. I think that's why Daniel Bryan's in there, to protect Roman, to protect Edge. So, unfortunately, I do think Daniel Bryan will eat the pin and kind of see, where things are going there. So, just kind of check it out. Yep. I definitely agree, Dan. I think Strowman and Shane O'Mac will do kind of anything goes, no DQ, no holds barred, which are all the same type of deals, but just let them wreak havoc in Tampa Bay Stadium. I started to say Thunderdome. They'll be at Tampa Bay Raymond James Stadium, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out. But SmackDown wise, we got Daniel Bryan, we have Edge, we have Roman Reigns for the Universal title, and I'm fine with it. I know a lot of people said, Daniel Bryan lost his chances, but I don't know what else. I mean, my other dream bookie match would be Daniel Bryan takes on Pete Dunne from NXT, but obviously that's not happening. So we need Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. So, I think it's fine with what he's doing. Seth Rollins defeated Shinsuke Nakamura again, but we had Cesaro come out there and take care of Seth Rollins. Does Gronk interfere? I don't think Gronk will be anywhere near anything this year's WrestleMania. He had his time in the sun last year. He won the title. He won the 24/7 title. And right now, Gronk is Gronk. But, I mean, we could see him, but I'm going to personally say no, especially since Mojo Rawley has not even been on TV lately, and that's kind of his buddy in WWE. So, no Gronk, no Tom Brady, whatever else people is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, could I see them trying to do something? Maybe, because they did win the title. The Super Bowl title, so maybe, but right now I'm going to say no on Gronk being anywhere near anything at WrestleMania this year. But we will see Cesaro and Seth Rollins tear the house down, and I'm really excited for that. I think this is going to be Cesaro's coming out party. I believe this is his first one-on-one match at WrestleMania. He's been in 4 tag team title matches, and then he was in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, where he won it at WrestleMania 30, the first year of it. So, Cesaro's been kind of involved with different things. Oh, does Brock Lesnar come out to I think Brock Lesnar right now is not going to be part of WrestleMania, honestly. I don't think Brock is anywhere near it right now. I don't know when Brock's coming back, honestly. His name never comes up in anything. And this is probably the first year when you're looking at the overall picture of WrestleMania, there's really no part-timers being involved. I mean, I guess Shane a little bit, but even Shane's been on TV pretty often. And then Edge, of course, where's Edge? Do we consider him part-timer? So honestly, we have no Taker. We have no John Cena. We have no Ronda Rousey right now. Charlotte Flair's not on there. I mean, this WrestleMania is quite interesting with, guys and girls that normally, would be there that aren't there. So Ronda Rousey is another one that I'm really curious when she ends up back, if she doesn't back, because I could see that happening at some point. But yes, Cesaro definitely underrated. I mean, Cesaro, I don't know if he'll ever get a world title, but I think a good win over Seth Rollins could get, and then maybe like I think he'd be good for Money in the Bank, more so than Big E. I think we could, I've seen a lot of people throw Big E, and we're going to get to Big E here next, but I see a lot of people throwing out Big E, Money in the Bank winner. I think Big E's better off without it and just kind of going to town, over the summer as he can. So I think my bet would be Cesaro getting that Money in the Bank briefcase after a good win against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Speaking of Big E, we are going to see Big E kind of go in against Apollo Crews again. I hope Big E, they put in some stipulation like Apollo Crews can't go for the IC title if he doesn't win, which makes me think that Apollo does win it, but still, the idea. Yep, that's definitely what I agree with that. Dan's saying, let's share it right here as I do this. I definitely think that. I think Cesaro could go that route of IC title and be one of their better. It should be a workhorse title, where that guy shows up every week. You give him a good feud. It's what Big E's doing with it now. I think Big E is a good champion right now. And I do think Big E's headed for that next step. I think Big E's ready for it. I think Cesaro's ready for it too, if they gave him the ball. I mean, that's the thing. We got plenty of guys on this roster that could go that next step if they really want to. And, it's just all about, unfortunately, Vince McMahon saying, okay, I'm going to give you the ball and run with it. But right now, we're going to get Apollo Crews. We'll get Big E. Like I said, I think if you put in that added stipulation, like this is Apollo Crews' last chance, maybe if you don't officially announce it, but you say it, and then, if Apollo Crews wins, that's fine. I think he's come a long way as well in his time. And I thought last year we started to see it on Raw when he won the U.S. title. And we're seeing him go with his character now that he's definitely ready for that next step as well. So we did see Apollo Crews, Otis, and Chad Gable defeat Big E and the Street Profits with Apollo getting the pin on Big E, which pretty much sets it up. Bianca Belair defeated Natalya, and we had Bianca and Sasha come to blows again. Sasha is looking more the heel, though, I think, in this route. I think we do want Bianca kind of the more face, everybody getting behind Bianca. And that's why I think this WrestleMania is important to, pull the trigger on this type of deal. Pull the trigger on Rhea Ripley winning the title there. Pull the trigger on Bianca Belair winning the title. Sasha's going to be fine. If she loses at WrestleMania, it's not going to be a big deal. She'll still be able to, go in, especially if Sasha goes heel. I think that does help open up things. So Rey Mysterio defeated Dolph Ziggler. I mean, we're getting Rey and Dominic probably against the Street Profits, against Otis, Chad Gable, and against the Street or the Dirty Dogs, as they're called, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. I wonder if we'll get Robert Roode and Dominic Mysterio next week. I mean, we could maybe go the route of just the Mysterios against Ziggler and Roode, and then we let Ziggler and Roode lose the titles to the Mysterio family and they run with it. But I'd rather put Otis, Chad Gable, and the Street Profits and the Mysterio family all in that tag team title picture for SmackDown, which is obviously a lot easier, little more teams going than on Raw right now. But we'll kind of look at WrestleMania at the end of this and kind of see what matches are scheduled, and then kind of see what we can add to it. Finishing up with NXT, then I'll take a quick break as I've been talking a lot, and I appreciate Dan being part of my chat group there and giving me some good questions kind of feed off of. I appreciate that so much. Definitely looking forward to our WrestleMania show when we can get a few more faces on here as well. But we'll look at NXT, take a quick break, and then finish up with, our WrestleMania and NXT stand and deliver matches. So right now, looking at NXT, we had Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai defeat NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. So we have Raquel really building herself up to go against Io Shirai. And I love that Io Shirai called out Raquel Gonzalez, trying to prove herself against the best woman right now going. So I think that's really important that your champion, yes, you should go after the champion, but also the champion calling out women, that builds up that woman. So I think that's really important. And we're going to see them go out night one, and I believe that's the main event. So that's where I think as well you pull the trigger on Raquel Gonzalez beating Io Shirai. I know I always say my predictions, but hey, you can hear my predictions 5,000 times now just because we are in WrestleMania season. So Bronson Reed defeated LA Knight, which I thought was interesting. LA Knight was formerly Eli Drake in Impact Wrestling and on NWA, and now he's LA Knight in NXT and kind of, he's getting a good rub. I really like Bronson Reed. I think he's kind of like a Bam Bam Bigelow type where he can do a lot of the stuff that Keith Lee can do, that Kevin Owens can do, these bigger guys. I mean, who would have thought nowadays that these bigger guys would move around like lightweight guys? So Bronson Reed picking up the win is kind of surprising to me because we are building up LA Knight. But then again, sometimes in NXT, you do kind of build those losses up to, then finally get going. So I think it's just all about that. Karrion Kross defeated Oney Lorcan. Not much there. We just ended up getting Finn Balor come out talking up Karrion Kross, and that will main event night 2. Even though when we get to the end of this night for NXT, I'm curious if we might switch that up, but that's my thinking. NXT UK champion Walter defeated Drake Maverick in it was like that. One gigantic slap, chest slap, and Drake was done. But this brought out Tommaso Ciampa talking to Walter and saying, I care more about your title than going after Walter. And I think that's important. Walter's also getting called out by Rampage Brown in NXT UK. It's hard with these NXT UK guys because some of these these events have been taped for NXT UK. So, of course, then we're seeing them show up live for NXT. And I'm very surprised to see I didn't think Walter would be on, I don't think he'll be on past Stand and Deliver. Now, Imperium guys could still be there, but it will be interesting to see what happens after NXT Stand and Deliver, because right now we're going to get Walter, the NXT UK champion, putting his title up for grabs against Tommaso Ciampa. I would have originally done a 3-man, Drake Maverick, Killian Dane, and Tommaso Ciampa against Walter and Imperium. But I think Walter and Tommaso is going to be ridiculous. I mean, it really will. So, and it gives, Tommaso a chance to get a title, which he won't win, but still a good match. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, still the NXT Women's Champions. They defeated Mercedes Martinez and Aaliyah. But then we had Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae come out in the backstage and call out Shotzi and Ember. So that I do wonder there. We're obviously going to get them going at one of the nights. I would assume night one maybe, but we'll kind of see where things head up. And yeah, kind of interesting because I still think we gotta give Candice LeRae something. Women's title or the tag team title for the women's side of things, something. Her and Indy Hartwell really to build themselves up with the way, especially if Johnny Gargano with his NA, North American title, I think that would really build that up. So real quick, speaking of his North American title, we have a 12-person battle royal happening next week to determine who's in a 6-person gauntlet. So we'll have a 12-person battle royal. The last 6 men in this match will be at a gauntlet match, night 1 of NXT Stand and Deliver, to determine the title challenger for Johnny Gargano. That's how it was explained on NXT TV, which I didn't understand it at first because William Regal really went quick. And then Johnny Gargano was like, hey, I need this explained to me again. And then it made sense. So the men, let me bring up the men as I scroll over here real quick. So this is who we have in our title match, our Battle Royale, sorry. Jake Atlas, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Leon Ruff, Austin Theory, Dexter Lumis, Tyler Russ, Kushida, Cameron Grimes, Pete Dunne, Roderick Strong, Bronson Reed, and LA Knight. I feel like there's going to be a lot of guys that are just going to kind of, I feel like we can mark down. So my 6 men that will come out of this, because I feel like guys are going to eliminate each other, essentially. My 6 men to come out of this to be in the, gauntlet match, Dexter Lumis, Kushida, Cameron Grimes, Pete Dunne, Austin Theory, and Roderick Strong. I think everybody else kind of, doesn't end up. You could maybe put somebody else like Pete Dunne or LA Knight just to kind of get him something. But so I'm going Lumis, Theory, Kushida, Grimes, Dunne, and Strong. I think that's the best 6 right now that could go for the gauntlet match. And then there, I want to predict that Dexter Lumis will win that gauntlet match to go on against Johnny Gargano. Maybe Austin Theory helps Gargano, or we could pull the trigger on Dexter Lumis as champion, who never talks and just does caricatures of pictures. So I don't know where we're going to go there. But so, yeah, that was that. North American title. You got it? Good? Go? Okay. And then also we saw Jordan Devlin defeat Kushida in a non-title match. We had Santos Escobar come out, start drawing with him. We had Shawn Michaels come out, introduce a ladder. So essentially we're going to have Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar in a ladder match for the NXT Cruiserweight Champion to determine who's the official Cruiserweight Champion. And I wonder if we'll get a new title for that as well, because we'll have one champion. I'm going to assume Escobar takes that because, I don't know if Jordan Devlin's going to be on TV for NXT much further or he'll go back to the UK, but that should be something to watch. I think that's going to be a good match for them. And finally, we have Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole going at it in an unsanctioned match for NXT TakeOver. I don't know if this will be cinematic or not, but I do think they're going to kill it, tear the house down. That was interesting on our network exclusive. We had we had Adam Cole lay a good punch into William Regal. So I wonder if we'll get the added stipulation, which I think should happen, is loser leaves NXT. Because both those guys can't be there together anymore. That's how they'll play it up. And then Adam Cole goes to the main roster on the night after WrestleMania. That's kind of how I'm picturing that. But there was a little tease where HBK, Shawn Michaels, was going backstage and walked past Adam Cole, and they both stared at each other. And of course, what does everybody like me think? We're getting a match with them. And do you do that in NXT? I don't know. But I think Shawn Michaels wants to make up for that. We're not even going to talk about it. But when he came back out of retirement, which he should have never done, I do think he wants to make up for that. And what better way to do it than go against Adam Cole? So, yeah, I'm curious. Like I said, that could be nothing. Maybe they're throwing it out there just in case. But usually in NXT, you don't do things without reasoning. And I know I'm jumping the gun and I'm being very dream match worthy, but I do think there's something there. So I think Kyle O'Reilly, maybe HBK is the referee somehow. Maybe that's something. And then I did talk up the 12-person battle royale to determine who will be in a 6-man gauntlet to determine Johnny Gargano's opponent. So there you go. There's my Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Thank you for Dan for giving me some good insight, kind of giving some good questions, kind of lead me into things. But we'll take a quick break and look at where WrestleMania is at the time being, look at where NXT TakeOver is at the time being, anybody else that I could throw in those matches. So give you a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
Alrighty, and we're back. Sorry about that quick break. I'm going to bring up real quick where NXT Stand and Deliver is. So, as we look right now, we got our first night for Stand and Deliver. It's going to be Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the women's title. I think that's going to main event, obviously. We have MSK, which is Wesley and Nash Carter, against the Grizzled Young Veterans, against Legado de Fantasma, for the vacant NXT championship. So we'll kind of get a new tag team champions there. That one is, I think any of those teams could win, honestly. We'll also have our 6-man gauntlet eliminator match to determine the number one contender for the NXT North American title. I've said, Dexter Lumis, Austin Theory, Pete Dunne, Roderick Strong, Kushida, Cameron Grimes. Those are my 6 picks for that. We'll see how many I get right out of that. So that's night one. And Walter, the current NXT UK champion, going against Tommaso Ciampa. I think that's a solid night one. Like I said, maybe you could add the NXT women's title on there, or we'll just wait till TV. So, because right now it's pretty even, four matches. Night 2, we have Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. Finn Balor is the current NXT champion. This one is where it's tough. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly right now to me is the better story, and I'd rather have the better story main event. Now they'll probably pull out the whole lingo of co-main event, and then that way it sounds like it's main. But I think personally I would end with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, especially if Kyle O'Reilly, like this could be Kyle O'Reilly's big moment on NXT TV for the, and it's not even for a title, but I'd still think I'd end the night with that. And then again, if you're going to pull a title change, you're probably going to end the night with Karrion Kross standing tall. We also see Johnny Gargano versus the winner of the previous night. I think that's going to be Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis. Then we'll also see Jordan Devlin, Santo Escobar, ladder match for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And I think that's going to be something to watch. So that's kind of our NXT look at. Like I said, the only match I want to add right now is probably Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon defending those titles on one of the nights. Probably whichever night is not running as long, I think that would be a good night. And then I wanted to bring up really quick our current WrestleMania cards. So let me do a little screen share as you just stare at my nice chair. Talks amongst yourselves as I bring this up. All righty, there is that. So looking ahead, right now we got Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan. I mean, those three guys right now are the top of their game. They all deserve to be in that match. I have no problems with Daniel Bryan inserting himself in because I don't know where else Daniel Bryan can be inserted. So that's kind of where I see that. Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, that's going to be barn burner. I would be okay if they don't main event because I know Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title. That is history making. Two women of color going at it for a championship, in WWE. That's something special. So, and they keep mentioning main event for Sasha and Bianca, so it makes you wonder. But that's the next match to talk about. SmackDown Women's Championship, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. We have the Raw Tag Team Champions and New Day going against AJ Styles and Omos. We have The Fiend versus Randy Orton. We have the Raw Women's Championship, Asuka and Rhea Ripley going at it. Like I said, could Charlotte get added to that? I don't know. It would surprise me, but then Charlotte needs to eat the pin. So we also have Bad Bunny versus The Miz, which I think will change into a tag team match. Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. We have, Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. We have Apollo Crews going against the IC champion, Big E. And last night we just added in Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. What more? This, you look at this card, this is literally, guys that have been working their tail off the past, years. And I look at this card right now. Yes, Bad Bunny is a celeb. So I guess technically we have one involvement, but you really look at this and these are guys that have been there from, the beginning, just working their butt, especially during this pandemic. You have a guy like, Apollo Crews who's come a long way. And I don't know if the lack of crowd has helped him or not, but he's come a long way. We're getting Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn one-on-one. We're getting Cesaro and Seth Rollins one-on-one. If you would have told, independent wrestlers back, in 2006, 2007, when those guys were huge, really building up their brand, that they'll be on night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania, who knows that they would have predicted that. So, that is crazy to see those two singles matches, and they're going to tear the house down. You really do see that. And the biggest thing I think, though, where is Bayley? So that's my, my booking right now. I'm thinking Bayley will do a ding dong hello segment, and I want Io Shirai to answer the call. Does Becky Lynch come out? Does Charlotte come out? I feel like Bayley needs at least a segment on WrestleMania. She's worked too damn hard to not be part of this, so I hope Bayley has some sort of moment. And then also I could see Sheamus and Matt Riddle getting added for the U.S. title on night 1 or night 2, whichever one. So that's, kind of the guys that and girls that aren't involved right now. Charlotte and Bayley. Two of the important women right now. And then you have Matt Riddle, current U.S. champion. I would imagine you're going to get him on there. So, but I think WrestleMania is going to be huge, and it's going to be fans in the building. I think there's going to be an energy there that's been lacking, with the, pandemic shows that they're making the best they can with the Thunderdome, piped in noise and all that. But this is going to be really important to kind of get that momentum back on WWE's side. So thank you for watching. I appreciate all the time that we have here, ready for WrestleMania season, as you can tell. And hopefully you guys ready for it too. So thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day.
Superkickin and Wrestlemania.